Let me share something with you that might change how you view yourself and your interactions with women. Ever wondered why some older men effortlessly command respect and admiration from women while others, despite good intentions, just give off the wrong vibe? It's a delicate subject, but one crucial for any man who values self-improvement and genuine connection. Today, we're diving deep, using the ancient wisdom of Stoicism to uncover the 3 common pitfalls that can make an older man seem creepy to women, and more importantly, how to avoid them entirely and cultivate a presence that is both powerful and attractive. Stay with me, because what you learn today could fundamentally shift your interactions. The first major pitfall is what I call the illusion of control and outcome dependence. This is when an older man consciously or unconsciously attempts to control the interaction, the woman's reactions, or even her feelings. He might over-compliment, over-pursue, or become visibly disappointed if things don't go his way. From a Stoic perspective, this is a grave error. The Stoics teach us about the dichotomy of control. We control our own thoughts, actions, and reactions, but we do not control external events or other people's responses. When you tie your self-worth or happiness to a specific outcome, like a woman's approval or affection, you hand over your inner peace to external forces. This desperation, this neediness, is palpable. It signals a lack of inner stability and self-sufficiency that a truly confident man, a Stoic man, would never project. The philosopher Epictetus once observed that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And when you react to a woman's presence with desperate attempts to control the outcome, you are reacting from weakness. You are not being controlled by your own principles. You are being controlled by your fear of rejection. And that fear is what she will sense long before you ever say a word. A Stoic man understands that he offers his best self, acts with virtue, and then lets go of the outcome. He is indifferent to external approval, not because he doesn't value connection, but because his inner well-being isn't contingent upon it. This very indifference, this calm self-possession, is paradoxically incredibly attractive. Think about the men you have known who seem to have a magnetic presence. Were they the ones who were desperate for approval? Or were they the ones who were completely comfortable in their own skin, who didn't need anyone to validate their existence? The answer is almost always the latter. When you stop needing her approval, you become someone she wants to approve of. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are colored by desperation and need, your soul reflects that. But when your thoughts are colored by calm self-assurance, your soul reflects that too. And she will feel it. She will sense that you are different from every other man who has tried to impress her. Let me give you a real example of how this plays out. There was a man named Robert, age 58. He had been divorced for a few years and was trying to get back into dating. He would go on dates and try so hard to impress the woman. He would compliment her constantly, agree with everything she said, and try to steer the conversation toward his accomplishments. He thought this would make her like him, but instead, he noticed that women would become distant after the first or second date. He couldn't figure out why. Then he learned about outcome dependence. He realized that he was trying to control the outcome of every interaction. He was so focused on getting her approval that he forgot to just be himself. He decided to change his approach. On his next date, he stopped trying to impress. He stopped over-complimenting. He simply showed up as himself, asked genuine questions, and let the conversation flow naturally. He didn't worry about whether she would like him. He just focused on being present and enjoying the moment. And something shifted. The woman leaned in. She asked questions about him. She smiled more. She was genuinely interested. Because he had stopped trying to control the outcome, he had become more attractive. This is the power of letting go of outcome dependence. When you stop trying to control how she feels about you, you free yourself to be authentic. And authenticity is the most attractive quality a man can possess. Now, let's move to the second major pitfall, the echo chamber of past glory and entitlement. This manifests as constantly talking about past achievements, name-dropping, or subtly suggesting that due to his age or experience, he is owed attention or respect. He might dismiss younger perspectives or treat conversations as a stage for his own monologue. Again, Stoicism cuts through this ego-driven behavior. The Stoics remind us that true value comes from present virtue, from how we act now. Past glories are just that, past. They do not automatically qualify us for present admiration. And entitlement is the antithesis of Stoic humility and acceptance. Expecting things to be handed to you or believing you're inherently superior closes you off from learning, from empathy, and ultimately from genuine connection. A Stoic man operates from a place of quiet confidence, not boastfulness. He understands that true respect is earned through his character and his actions in the present moment, not by reliving past triumphs or demanding deference. He is present, a good listener, and engages with genuine curiosity, knowing that everyone, regardless of age, has something valuable to offer. This humility and presence create a space of safety and respect which is profoundly appealing. The philosopher Seneca once wrote that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And one of the greatest wastes is the time we spend talking about our past achievements instead of creating new ones. When you constantly talk about what you used to do, you signal that your best days are behind you. And that is not attractive. It is nostalgic at best and pathetic at worst. The man who is genuinely confident does not need to remind you of his past successes. His present presence is enough. Consider this scenario. You're at a social gathering. Two older men are talking to women. One man spends the entire conversation talking about his career, his accomplishments, the people he knows, the places he's been. He's trying to impress. The other man listens more than he speaks. He asks questions. He shows genuine curiosity about the woman he's talking to. He shares stories when they're relevant, but he doesn't dominate the conversation. He's present. He's engaged. He's interested. Which man do you think leaves a more lasting impression? The answer is obvious. The man who listens, who is present, who treats the woman as an equal rather than an audience, that is the man she will remember. That is the man she will respect. That is the man she will want to see again. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus also taught that no great thing is created suddenly, and the respect that comes from genuine presence is no exception. It is built through the accumulation of moments where you choose to listen rather than speak, where you choose curiosity over performance, where you choose humility over ego. And as you build that respect, it becomes part of your presence. And that presence is what she will be drawn to. Let me give you another real example. I knew a man named Richard, age 62. He was a successful businessman, retired, with plenty of stories to tell. On dates, he would dominate the conversation, talking about his deals, his travels, his connections. He thought he was impressing women with his life experience, but he kept getting feedback that women found him too much. He was frustrated. He couldn't understand why his accomplishments weren't winning them over. Then he met a woman who was direct with him. She said, "You never ask me anything. You don't seem interested in who I am. You just want an audience." That was a wake-up call. Richard realized that he had been treating conversations as performances rather than connections. He started changing his approach. He began asking questions. He listened more. He shared stories only when they were relevant to the conversation. He stopped trying to impress and started trying to connect. And everything changed. Women started responding to him differently. They felt seen. They felt heard. They felt valued. And that is what created genuine attraction. Because women don't want to be impressed by your past. They want to be seen in their present. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And when you realize that your past accomplishments are outside events, that they do not define your present value, you find the strength to be present with her. And that presence is what makes you unforgettable. Our third and perhaps most insidious pitfall is emotional reactivity and a lack of self-regulation. This is when an older man allows his emotions, be it frustration, anger, insecurity, or excessive neediness, to dictate his behavior in social interactions. He might lash out, become overly sensitive, or display an alarming lack of composure. Stoicism, above all, is a philosophy of self-mastery. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, they all stress the importance of controlling our internal world, particularly our passions and impulses. An older man who still lacks this emotional regulation often comes across as unstable, unpredictable, and frankly unsafe. It's a sign of immaturity, regardless of his chronological age. The Stoic sage aims for apatheia, not apathy in the modern sense, but freedom from destructive passions, a state of inner tranquility. This doesn't mean being emotionless, but rather skillfully managing emotions. A man who can maintain his composure under pressure, who responds thoughtfully rather than reacts impulsively, who understands that his peace is his own responsibility, that is a man who inspires trust and respect. The philosopher Epictetus also taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And when you react to a frustrating situation with emotional outbursts, you are revealing a lack of self-control that is deeply unattractive. Women, especially those who have lived long enough to know what they want, are not looking for a man who will add chaos to their lives. They are looking for a man who can be a source of calm stability. And that stability is built on emotional self-regulation. Think about the last time you saw someone lose their temper in a social situation. Did they seem powerful, or did they seem out of control? The answer is almost always the latter. Emotional outbursts are a sign of weakness, not strength. A man who can remain calm when things go wrong, who can handle disappointment without anger, who can face rejection without bitterness, that man is rare. And because he is rare, he is valuable. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote that true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. And when you can regulate your emotions, you can enjoy the present without being thrown off by what might happen next. You are not anxiously dependent on her approval. You are grounded in yourself. And that grounding is what makes her feel safe enough to let her guard down. Let me give you a real example. I knew a man named David, age 55. He was dating a woman he really liked. One night, she cancelled plans at the last minute. David was frustrated. His first instinct was to react, to send an angry text, to express his disappointment, to make her feel guilty. But he paused. He took a breath. He remembered that he could not control her actions, only his own. So he responded calmly. He said, "No problem. I understand. Let's reschedule when you're free." She was surprised by his reaction. She expected him to be upset. Instead, he was understanding. That made her think differently about him. She felt respected, not pressured. And she started making more effort to see him. Because he had shown emotional maturity, he had passed a test she didn't even know she was giving. That is the power of emotional self-regulation. It signals that you are a man who can handle the ups and downs of life without losing your center. And that is a quality that women find irresistible. Now, here is the deeper truth about all three of these pitfalls. They all stem from the same source: insecurity. The illusion of control comes from the fear of not being enough. The echo chamber of past glory comes from the fear of being irrelevant. The lack of emotional regulation comes from the fear of being powerless. And women can sense this fear. They can feel it in the way you talk, the way you react, the way you try to control the interaction. That is what makes a man seem creepy. Not his age, not his appearance, but his insecurity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that no great thing is created suddenly, and the confidence that comes from self-mastery is no exception. It is built through the accumulation of small choices, each one reinforcing the last. Each time you choose to let go of control, you build that confidence. Each time you choose to listen rather than perform, you build that confidence. Each time you choose to respond rather than react, you build that confidence. And as you build it, it becomes part of your presence. And that presence is what she will be drawn to. So, here is what I want you to take away from this. Your age is not your enemy. It is your advantage. But only if you avoid these three pitfalls. Stop trying to control the outcome. Stop reliving your past glory. Stop reacting emotionally. Instead, cultivate presence. Cultivate curiosity. Cultivate self-mastery. Become the man who is so comfortable in his own skin that he doesn't need to impress anyone. Become the man who is so present that he makes everyone around him feel seen. Become the man who is so calm that he becomes an anchor in a storm. That man is not creepy. That man is irresistible. That man is the one women will remember. That man is the one women will respect. That man is the one women will want. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When you cultivate thoughts of self-mastery, presence, and calm confidence, your soul reflects that, and she will see it, she will feel it, and she will be drawn to it. Because in a world of men who are insecure and reactive, a man who is centered in himself is a rare and precious thing. Be that man. Build that life. And watch how everything changes. If this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What other behaviors have you observed, and what Stoic principles help you navigate social dynamics? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay virtuous, stay wise.